Thank you, Madam Chairwoman and Ranking Member, and thank you to all the members of this committee for your endurance over these last 17 hours. I urge the committee to make my amendments in order to take those amendments, amendments 50, 51, and 166, but rather than delving into the details of those amendments, I'd like to express a larger concern about what I call the big bloated borrowing bill. I'd like to talk about what this budget and its borrowing does to our children. In March, I visited Meadows Elementary in East San Jose, where I read a favorite book, The Giving Tree, to a group of fourth graders in a high-need neighborhood in East San Jose. And afterward, a tall girl sitting in the front asked me what it is that we do in Congress to help kids like them. And I talked to her about school lunches. I talked to her about helping her and her mom when they go to the doctor. And I talked to her about how when she has dreams to go to college, we can help her with what we call Pell Grants. No longer, not if this budget is approved. You've heard from my colleagues over the last 17 hours about what this proposed budget will do for our children. Yesterday, the Urban Institute issued a report revealing that the reconciliation bill could cause up to 18.3 million children to lose their access to free school meals. We know many of those children will rely on that meal as their only and their best source of nutrition. We also know that children comprise 40% of the estimated 9.7 to 14 million Americans who will lose their health insurance because of these cuts. Packard Foundation report just revealed that 914,000 children alone will lose their health insurance because the parents getting knocked out as a result of the work requirement, or at least not being able to complete the laborious paperwork for that. I know you've heard all of this in one form or another from my Democratic colleagues over the last 17 hours, but I want to actually talk about what you're hearing from your Republican colleagues. From what I'm told, you've heard from some of your colleagues, quietly in caucus meetings, of course, only a few of them have spoken in public, that this is the most fiscally irresponsible budget in U.S. history. It will add, according to the CBO, $479 billion to next year's deficit, and it will add as well another $3 trillion, of course, to our debt over the next 10 years, accelerating a prodigious rate of accumulating debt. That's not just, of course, their opinion or my opinion. It's the opinion of the market, which has told us clearly. Last week, Moody's downgraded U.S. Treasuries for the first time in my lifetime based on its assessment of, quote, current fiscal proposals. Tomorrow's Wall Street Journal is already online if you'd like to check it out. The lead story in the markets, a weak auction for 20-year bonds, exacerbated worries about rising deficits, and I'm quoting, in Washington, and drove sharp declines for stocks and bonds, sending the Dow Jones down more than 800 points and the 30-year Treasury bond yield to its highest level in 2 years. This fiscal irresponsibility will bring a parade of horribles, to be sure, but among them will be the fact that it's going to cost more for Americans to invest and borrow, because as we continue to squeeze out private sector borrowing, we will see those rates rise. In this case, both Democratic and Republican critics of this bill are correct. Two things can be true. We can be bipartisan about this. This is a colossally awful budget. And we should be bipartisan about supporting our children as well, because our kids are neither Republican nor Democratic. They need all of us to get it right for them. So let me attempt to bring these two threads together in one bipartisan message. This budget will hurt our children, because not only are you cutting spending of our money for them, but you are spending their money for us. In other words, you're stealing our children's future, and there's one reason why you're inflicting so much pain, and one reason only, and that is because Donald Trump has painted himself and all of you into a corner with a promise for a $5 trillion tax cut that you don't know how to pay for, and you cannot cut enough to pay for. But the billionaires will do very well. On the other hand, history will never forgive us, collectively, and our children shouldn't either. Thank you. I yield my time.